Hello, I'm Dr. Robin Ganzert, and welcome to American Humane in Action. As an animal lover, you may already know that American Humane is this country's very first national humane organization and has been fighting for the humane treatment of all animals since way back in 1877. Today, we are proud to say that we save, shelter, feed, and protect nearly 1 billion animals around the world. Those in our homes, those who are caught in war, natural disasters, and cruelty cases. The animal actors we so love in movies and television, endangered species in zoos and aquariums, and hundreds of millions of animals living on farms and ranches. At American Humane, our mission is to help animals whenever and wherever they are in need. Why? Because we love them, and I know you do too. American Humane has been first to serve with the U.S. military for a century. Our animal rescue program was born on the battlefields of World War I in Europe, where at the request of the U.S. Secretary of War, volunteers with American Humane deployed to rescue and care for 68,000 wounded war horses each month. As warfare modernized, so did the role of military dogs, whose history dates back to ancient times. These dogs were used to break up enemy formations, deliver messages, and even served as mascots to rally the troops. Many of today's military working dogs, or MWDs, serve in explosive detection roles, helping American and Allied forces avoid IEDs and mines, and serve with assault teams with special operations. No matter their role, we at American Humane honor the thousands of brave dogs inducted into service. We also believe that every heroic canine who serves alongside our brave men and women and the U.S. Armed Forces deserves a restful retirement with those they love best, the handlers with whom they've served. On this episode of American Humane in Action, we dive into our military affairs program, and we meet a brave canine reunited with his beloved handler. And we'll welcome a brave veteran and his service dog paired through our Pups for Patriots program, which literally saves lives on both ends of the leash. We'll also talk to leading experts to find out what it's like to be on the front lines of those exciting initiatives. I'm pleased to be joined by Dr. Lisa Staubus, an American Humane staff veterinarian who regularly deploys with our rescue team and also helps to facilitate our heartwarming military reunifications. Lisa, thank you so much for being with us today. I'm so delighted that you could join.
Well, thank you, Robin. I'm just tickled to be here. This is a subject that is so close to my heart.
Well, tell me, why is military working dog reunification so important to you?
Well, you know, not only have these bright young service members served our country, put themselves in harm's way and faced amazing stress at this point in their life when they're actually, most of them, quite young, but so have these dogs. And unlike our volunteer military these days, these dogs were born into this, and they serve right along with them.
We call them battle buddies, right? They've served on the front line together with the service member.
They are. They're at that tip of that spear with that amazing nose. As you mentioned, all of those environments they're in them because they're dangerous.
Yes.
And they go in first and ensure the safety of those that follow.
Absolutely, on the battlefield, saving lives, really, truly. So tell me, this program is amazing. Walk me through a day in Lisa's life and working with our military working dog reunification.
Well, you know, there's several high points in it and then some that aren't so high, but you know, out of the blue, my phone rings, or I get an email out of the blue, and I have to answer that phone quickly because it could be one of these. But it's that the service member has become aware that the dog they've served with is moving through the disposition process, and they refer to it as disposition because they're considered equipment in the military. And so as that animal's going through their disposition, the decision is being made of who they will be adopted to. And thankfully, we get them with handlers. But so having that moment when we connect with that handler, handler, and we start that process. And then I work with the military base where the dog is, with the kennel masters there and the veterinarians there to accumulate all the documents we're going to need to get them through the travel process safely. Then we come to the magic moment, and suddenly they realize, there's my battle buddy, and there they fall into their arms.
Dr. Lisa, so proud to know you. You're one of our humane heroes at American Humane. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for reuniting these battle buddies, and we're so grateful you're here to share your story.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to do this work that means so much.
Thank you, Dr. Lisa. After the break, we'll be joined by a very special guest who can share their reunification experience firsthand. We'll be right back.
Hi everybody, I'm Kristen Chenoweth. When our servicemen and women return from war, they often carry wounds that the rest of us cannot see. Up to 1 in 5 veterans who served in Iraq and Afghanistan are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress. And often, even the best treatment, including medication and therapy, they fall short. Sadly, more than 6,000 veterans die every year from suicide. Thanks to the life-saving power of the human-animal bond, professionally trained service dogs can help. But connecting a veteran with a well-trained service dog can be difficult. Wait lists are long and training can cost tens of thousands of dollars. But service dogs can bring healing. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury, please go to AmericanHumane.org to learn about their Pups for Patriots program, which provides dogs to veterans for free of charge. Let's help our veterans heal from the invisible wounds of war.
America's brave military dogs serve side by side with our troops, taking the same risk and often making the same sacrifices. It's only right that when their service is over, they should come home and be reunited with their battle buddies. American Humane brings home retired military dogs and puts them back in the arms of their loving handlers. But we can't do it alone. Visit AmericanHumane.org to help these heroes right now. Welcome back to American Humane in Action. In this episode, we're talking all about military working dogs and the reunification process once their service is completed. I'm very excited to have special guests with us to share their experience firsthand. Welcome U.S. Army Staff Sergeant Charles Ogun and military working dog Robiak. Hi, guys.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Can I call you Chuck?
Yes.
And can I call Robiak Roby?
Yes.
Yes, good. Chuck, thanks so much for being with us. I'd love to hear your story about what you do with the Army, of course, and how you met Roby.
I've been in the Army since 2005. I'm a military police officer. Currently, I'm on recruiting duty here in Kissimmee, Florida. Roby kind of just serves as my ambassador to the area as well in his retirement. I picked up dog handling right around 2012 when I was stationed at West Point Military Academy. After that, we moved to Fort Bliss, and then I moved up to Washington, D.C., where I picked up Robiak in 2014.
You know, when you first met Roby, what did you think about that experience of being a canine handler, and what was his duties? What were your duties together?
He was coming back from Afghanistan. Another handler had taken him on what's called a CJ SOTF deployment, which is where you go out with Navy SEALs or you go out with a Special Forces unit. They had been blown up a couple times, shot at a couple times, so he was a little skittish, a little standoffish. I was very nervous because he is a dog that has a lot of personality.
So let's just back up a little bit. He was serving with Special Forces in Afghanistan.
Yes.
And shot at. So talk to me a little bit, share with everyone about what it is that these dogs do on the front line where they're actually taking fire.
So in the military police world, we have 2 different dogs, but they are all certified to do what's called patrol work, bite work. But Robiak is an explosive dog. I've also worked narcotics dogs, but Robiak's sole purpose is to find people and to find explosives, either in the civilian world as a military police officer or on a combat field.
Yes. So what did you do when you met him? He was skittish, a little nervous, and you were transitioning him into a civilian role.
Correct. So when I picked him up, we were focused on basically bonding for the first 6 months. And he was very skittish. Once we were finally certified as a working dog team by the officials that do that, we did law enforcement operations at Joint Base Meyer Henderson Hall. and at Fort McNair in downtown DC. On top of that, we also serviced missions with Secret Service. We would do missions for the POTUS, which is the president, and then we would also go to places like Kenya. We would go to places all around DC. We would travel anywhere we were needed. 2016, we picked up a deployment to Iraq, and we certified as one of the better teams there, so they actually sent us forward to Syria, and there I took over like a kennel master type position and was in charge of other dog teams, and all we did was look for explosives with special forces teams.
Oh my
and
goodness.
check gates.
Oh my goodness. So really, both you and Roby would put your lives on the line as you're searching for explosives. You're at the very front line, right?
Yes.
Clearing spaces for more servicemen to come behind you, right?
That is correct.
And I thank you both for your service
Thank you.
to our country. We're so proud to know you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Reuniting these military pairs, it's the very least we can do in return for their sacrifice. After the break, Dr. Amy Wren, the National Director of American Humane's Lois Pope Life Center for Military Affairs, will join us to share how we save lives on both ends of the leash. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Ice-T. As a veteran, I know that for many former servicemen and women, the battle doesn't always end when they come home. Every day, 184 veterans are diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, and sadly, 20 take their own lives. When nothing else helps, professionally trained service dogs can. American Humane, serving the U.S. military for over 100 years, rescues animals in need of forever homes and trains them to become free, life-saving service dogs for our nation's veterans. If you're a veteran or know a veteran struggling with post-traumatic stress or traumatic brain injury, please go to AmericanHumane.org to learn about their Pups for Patriots program. Let's give our veterans a fighting chance.
When our brave servicemen and women return home, they often carry with them the invisible wounds of war. Professionally trained service dogs can help, but they cost upwards of $30,000, and waiting lists are long. American Humane provides free life-saving service dogs to deserving warriors, but we need your support. Please don't leave our veterans behind. Visit AmericanHumane.org to help now. Welcome back to American Humane in Action. I'm pleased to now be joined by Dr. Amy Wren, the National Director of American Humane's Lois Pope Life Center for Military Affairs. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you, Robin.
I'm so glad you're here today.
Me too.
I should call you Dr. Amy. So proud to know you.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your work at American Humane, because you've been part of many life-saving efforts, particularly bringing together veterans and service dogs.
Yes, thank you. Yes, it's been such a passion of mine to be able to work with veterans and service dogs, saving lives on both ends of the leash. It's tremendously rewarding, and I feel so lucky to be part of American Humane.
Well, tell me the statistics behind this work, this very vital and life-saving work that really drove you to create this program. Tell us some of the stats that are frightening.
Well, the invisible wounds of war, including post-traumatic stress, or PTS as it's known, and traumatic brain injury, they can cause debilitating symptoms such as anxiety and depression in our nation's veterans. Some of the studies show that 30% of returning veterans are diagnosed with PTS. And sadly, over 20 veterans take their lives every day.
20 veterans every single day commit suicide.
Yes.
Because of these invisible wounds of war. That's stunning. Well, I believe that you've found an alternative therapy, right?
Yes.
In the form of maybe 4 furry paws and a wagging tail.
Exactly.
Tell us a little bit about Pups for Patriots.
You bet. Well, the need for Pups for Patriots is so critical because there are a couple major obstacles that are standing in the way for veterans to receive quality service dogs. And the first obstacle is wait times. It's a very time-consuming process to train a service dog. And so at any given time, there's a waiting list of veterans, and they can wait anywhere from 1 to 2 years for a service dog.
1 to 2 years?
Yes.
Wow. Wow. Let's walk back a little bit. When you created this program, you brought together scientific advisors. Share with us the process that you went about to create the Pups for Patriots training standards, which are remarkable.
Yes, of course we wanted to have a program that had the highest standards so we could offer the best dogs to the right veterans. So we assembled a scientific advisory committee that was consisted of animal behaviorists, veterinarians, mental health providers, veterans, Department of Defense. We got all the stakeholders together in a room, and we designed this program so that it would be a life-changing experience for these veterans, bringing a dog into their life at the time when they most need it.
And so there's rigorous science behind this program, which is terrific. You brought up mental health counselors. Is that service provided to the veteran post-matching with the service dog?
American Humane partners with the veteran and their mental health provider throughout the process. So we work together in assessing the veteran's readiness for a dog. And of course, training can be stressful as well. So American Humane makes sure to provide mental health services throughout the training process and afterward.
That's wonderful. So it's really a holistic solution. I have to ask you, you have great stories. Can you share with us a veteran dog team that really changed your life?
I can tell you so many stories. Yes, we've received so many wonderful updates from our veterans. Some of my favorites are veteran Joe, who credits service dog Natty with receiving a big promotion at work. I love that veteran Don was able to sing the national anthem at a military event thanks to his service dog Ammo at his side. I think veteran Jessica said it best when she told American Humane that her service dog Lucy has made her world bigger and brighter, and she can finally find joy in life again.
How can people learn more about Pups for Patriots, Amy?
To learn more about Pups for Patriots, we encourage people to visit our website at americanhumane.org.
That's wonderful. Amy, thanks so much. You are a humane hero to all of us and so many veterans in need. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Robin.
We've talked today about our Pups for Patriots program, which pairs dogs in search of forever loving homes with veterans in need. The two are trained together at no cost to the veteran. We are lucky enough to be joined by one of these pairs. Welcome, Zach, and welcome, Winnie.
Thank you, Robin. Happy to be here.
Oh, I'm thrilled that you've joined us today. Tell me a little bit, Zach, about your background and what journey you took to end up with this beautiful dog named Winnie.
Absolutely. So I spent 22 years in the Air Force, and I just recently retired this year, and realized very quickly that a lot of the emotional trauma that we dealt with over those years, we kind of kept away and stored away, and it all kind of bubbled out after I started to hang up the uniform. So going through some behavior health therapy, my counselor recommended maybe a furry friend. So I took the step to research some programs, and the American Humane program really resonated with me. So with the click of a button, I filled out the information, and shortly after that, I was reached out by you guys' phenomenal team and started that journey that led me here today.
That's wonderful. So clicking that button, it wasn't just that easy, I know. So do you want to share with me a little bit about, as we matched and trained, you went through this process to be trained with the service dog?
So one of the big things that led me to the program was how immersive it is. Multiple interviews, video biography, sharing my life with the counselors and with the American Humane staff. They were able to kind of dissect my life and understand who I was, not as a military member, but as a person.
Yes.
And showing up, and the day we showed up and saw Winnie come out of the van, it was amazing to see her and the smile and the trainer. And right then I knew it was going to be a perfect match, and is exactly what I needed.
So tell me, what does Winnie do for you?
So Winnie has been trained, both of us have been trained basically to work with each other, and she does two main therapeutic needs for me. She takes care of what we call buffering, and we also have grounding. Grounding is one of those tools that we use in behavior health therapy to kind of recenter yourself. When you start feeling the anxiety or the panic or the world kind of closing in on you, you just go back and you kind of ground yourself. But one of the things I found is I wasn't able to catch it quick enough. The tools that I had.
And what weren't you able to catch quick enough?
The triggers that caused it. The sweaty palms, the closing off from my family, the just wanting to walk away from whatever situation I was in, even when I was with my kids, which is something you don't normally do. Winnie has been trained to basically push up against me when she recognizes that I'm in need or I have those triggers are being met. And she licks me and she jumps up on me and she puts her paws around my waist and she just reminds me like, hey, it's okay, I'm here, we'll get through this, which is a phenomenal feature. She also does that to where now I can take over, right? So she starts it and then I'm able to take over. The buffering part helps with the crowd avoidance.
Yes.
Supermarket lines, you feel kind of confined and there's a lot of people around you, a lot of noises. I can put her in a position which actually keeps the people more away from me, the 6 foot distance. She'll lay there and she kind of protects me in a way, in a very non-threatening kind of way. And it keeps the attention towards her and allows me to focus on what I need to focus on instead of my surroundings.
And that's just getting through that moment of that stress that you're feeling.
Exactly.
Well, Winnie, she's got a tough duty here today, right? Napping with you. I just think she's just a beautiful dog and a great companion for you. But it's much more than a companion. You describe some really rigorous duties that she performs for you.
It's always being there. It's a distraction in the best way possible. It allows me to focus on something other than the surrounding environment, the smells, the noise, the triggers of bring me back to the past or situations that I don't want to be in. It's more now, how's Winnie doing? Like, what's this training opportunity look like? It's the reframing of everyday life, from going to take the kids to school, to going to the grocery store, to even going to theme parks. Yes. Something that was just an emotional burden on me that I hid for the longest time because I didn't want my family to have to deal with that. Yes. So she lightens the load. She carries some of that suitcase and really, really helps in that manner. So I couldn't be more happy that she's here with us.
Zach, I'm so proud to know you. Thank you so much for your service. And I thank Winnie for her ongoing service for you and your family. What would you share with veterans who are watching this episode today? What words would you use to pay it forward for those who are struggling with those invisible wounds of war?
That there are internal wounds and they're real. Seeing myself walk down a hallway on a military base, you wouldn't know any difference. I didn't know any difference. I envisioned wounds as physical, missing limbs, wheelchairs, scooters, those things that I felt that vets that needed things like this. But what I found out really quickly is that they have programs for them. This was a program that I didn't know existed until my therapist said, hey, you need to look into this. But understand first, coming to the acceptance that you're injured and it's okay to ask for help.
Well, Zach, on behalf of all of us at American Humane, we're thrilled to have you be a Pups for Patriots veteran team. You and Winnie make an incredibly fine couple, and we're just wishing you much healing, much love, and no gratitude from all of us for your service to our country. Thank you so much for being here. So glad you shared your story.
I appreciate it, Robin. Thank you.
American Humane is opening a second century of caring for our military heroes at both ends of the leash. But it wouldn't be possible without Lois Pope, one of the nation's leading advocates for America's veterans and military animals. American Humane's Lois Pope Life Center for Military Affairs is funded with the generosity of philanthropist and passionate veterans advocate Lois Pope. Lois is widely recognized as the country's foremost champion for disabled veterans. She created the American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial in Washington, D.C., dedicated as the nation's permanent tribute to the 4 million living disabled American veterans. Mrs. Pope combines her commitment to disabled veterans with her ardent support of animal welfare. I recently had the chance to catch up with Lois from her home.
Through my partnership with American Humane, we have spearheaded many great initiatives, including the Pups for Patriots program and the Canine Medal of Courage, the highest honor given to military service dogs. And like all military working dogs, their deeds deserve recognition. Their names deserve to be heard, and their service remembered. I am most proud, actually honored, to have been able to give voice to the voiceless, most notably our nation's disabled veterans. They represent the human cost of war, and long after the fighting on the battlefield ends, their battle continues. Their scars, both physical and psychological, they endure. Yet far too long, they've been marginalized and forgotten. So I wanted and needed to change this. And that was the impetus for the American Veterans Disabled for Life Memorial that I created in our nation's capital. It's the only permanent public tribute to the 4.2 million living disabled veterans and all those who have died. This led to the creation of a National Day of Honor to them every October 5th, and a number of other programs dedicated to their health and welfare. Most importantly, America's disabled veterans transformed my life as much as I strive to transform theirs.
American Humane will always be first to serve with the U.S. military, and I hope you enjoyed learning more about our patriotic mission. We can all play a part in protecting animals by supporting military working dogs, choosing entertainment where no animals were harmed, adopting from shelters, and making humane choices at the supermarket, and visiting American Humane certified zoos and aquariums. If you were inspired by this show, join us and the Compassion Movement by supporting American Humane in its work to save, shelter, feed, and protect 1 billion animals every year. And please visit AmericanHumane.org and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so we can keep you up to date on all the latest news about the beautiful animals who share our world. I'm Dr. Robin Ganzert. Thank you for watching, and I hope you'll tune in to all of our episodes of American Humane in Action for an inside look at the innovative efforts that are building a better, more humane world for all of us.